Hi there and welcome. Today we're going to have a look at a practice with a fair bit of grounding in it. We're living in really troubled times. Seems like the perfect storm. So you've got climate emergency, you've got the economic downturn, we have the coronavirus and all the other attendant wobbles and worries in our life. And sometimes we begin to feel ungrounded and fearful because of that. So we're looking at working with the Muladhara chakra, which is based deep in our pelvis. and when this Muladhara chakra is out of whack, we can become very flighty and nervous and fearful. Or we can come the other way, we're rigid and with a lack of flexibility. So this lovely grounding practice, which is rooting down into the floor and forward folds, should bring us back to a place of solidity and courage in our lives, even though we're in fearful times, enabling love to walk in the world as opposed to fear. So I hope you enjoy the practice, and let's make a start. So come onto your hands and knees and come into cat-cow. Exhale, round your back up towards the ceiling. And inhale, lift your head, look up, sink down between your shoulder blades. Exhaling, rounding up, rooting down equally with all 4 points into the floor. Inhale, lift your head, look up, sinking down. Remembering to spread your fingers as wide as you can. Grip the floor with your fingertips. Press the top of the feet into the floor, and allowing a lovely wave of motion to make its way up and down your spine. Exhaling as you round up, inhaling as you sink down. And coming back to a place of stillness, and step back into plank. Right foot back, turn your toes under, left foot back, float your shoulders over your wrists, lift your gaze, look up. Root down into the floor with your fingers, grip the floor with your fingertips, push through your heels, engage your quads, gazing beyond the end of your mat. Lowering gently back onto the floor and coming into locust, full locust. So come all the way down, stretch your legs out behind you, press the tops of your feet into the floor. Arms by your sides, turn your palms up, inhale, squeeze your legs together and lift them off the floor. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor, lift your arms up as high as you can, turn your thumbs up. Move your ears back and take 5 breaths. And release gently to the floor and make your way into your hands and knees and come all the way up to standing. Coming into mountain, hands by your side, close your eyes, turn in, root down equally with all 4 corners of your feet into the floor, squeeze your shins in, squeeze your thighs together, stretch from your hips to under your armpits, close your eyes, turn your attention inwards and focusing on all that's good in the world, a sense of place, a sense of rootedness. Allowing the fear to be there, but not engaging with it. Don't push it away. Invite it in, just as you invite in your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings, and allow them to drift on past. Keep your feet together, more difficult, or separate them slightly apart, more doable, inner hip width apart if that suits you. And coming into power pose, head to knee. Bend your knees, lower your hips, round your back. Bring your forehead to your knees. Lift your arms off your back. Sinking down, rooting into the floor. Visualize your feet rooting down through the earth. Stretch your arms up to vertical or beyond. Inhale, press down, stand up, come into Tadasana again. Notice the sensations in your body after that lovely forward fold, which is simultaneously rooting down. Moving into crescent. Inhale, float your arms up, press your palms together, reach up, root down, engage your core. Move your ears back, move your arms into the back plane. Squeeze your shins in, your inner thighs, engage your quads, draw your lower ribs back. And if you like, you can bring the tiniest hint or glimmer of a smile to your eyes. And release your arms back down to your sides again. Moving into power pose, head to knee. Step your feet slightly wider apart or keep them together, more difficult. Lift your arms out in front and engage the head of the arm bones into the shoulder sockets, moving them back. Keeping that, exhale, inhale, lift your arms overhead and then bend your knees, lower your hips, round your back. Bring your forehead to your knees and stretch your arms out in front, endeavouring to keep your wrists in line with your shoulders, your forehead onto the tops of your knees or your thighs, and sitting back in your throne. Inhale, press down, stand up and savouring the movement out of the pose from one to the next. Moving into tree pose, shift your weight onto your left foot, root down into the floor with your left foot, flare your toes, and lift your right foot and place your right hand on your ankle. You can bring it to your ankle, your shin, or your upper inner thigh. Press your foot into your leg into your foot, root down, stretch from your hips to the tops of your shoulders, squeeze your shoulder blades together and down your back, move your ears back. More doable, keep your hands here. More difficult, lift your arms overhead and stretching up. So now we're in a place of unbalance, but you're rooting down. And you're being flexible, you sway and move with the things that make us feel unbalanced in life, knowing that our Muladhara chakra is coming back into balance. And take 3 breaths. And switch over onto the other foot. Shift your weight from your right foot to your left foot. Lift your left knee, clasp your left ankle and place it on your ankle, your shin or your upper inner thigh. Press foot into leg, leg into foot. Bring your hands together as if in prayer. Stay here, more doable. Or inhale and lift your arms overhead. Press your palms together and reach up. And release down. And coming into Warrior 2. Step your feet wide apart. Endeavouring to take up most of the length of your mat, depending on the comfort of standing like this and of course the length of your legs. Turn your right foot out. Lift your arms parallel to the floor. Look out over your right hand arm. Bend your right knee. Sink down. Move your right knee out in line with the root of your second toe. Engage your biceps. Stretch your fingertips away from you. Draw your right hip in. Move your left ribs back, your left shoulder back. Sink down a little bit more if it's available to you. Inhale, press down, stand up, pivot your right foot in, your left foot out. Keeping that, bend your left knee, move your knee out in line with the root of the second toe. Look out over your left hand arm, engage your biceps, sink down even more. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, roll your left hip back, your left ribs back, lift your chest, draw your lower ribs in, and take 3 breaths. Inhale, press down, stand up, and moving into Trikonasana, pivot your left foot in again, set up your left foot so that the root of your second toe lines up with the middle of your ankle, turn your right foot out, same thing, lift your arms parallel to the floor, look out over your right hand arm, and then reach forward as if to touch your ends of your fingers off a wall in front of you, place your hands on the floor, your right hand on the floor, lift your top arm up. Look up. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Engage your quad. Press your right foot into the floor. Engage your quad. Draw your right buttock underneath. Roll your left hip back, your left ribs back. And again, if you wish, lift the sides of your mouth into a tiny smile. Inhale and come back up to center and switch feet again. Turn your right foot in all the way in, turn your left foot out, keep that, stretch your arms out, look out over your left hand arm, hinge forward, place your hand on the floor, lift your top arm up to vertical. Press down with the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, roll your ribs back, your right shoulder back, and gaze out in front of you. Lift your chest. And inhale and make your way back up to center. And moving into revolve Trikonasana, walk towards the front of your mat, well halfway up. Step forward with your right foot. Lift your left arm up by your ear. Place your right hand on your hip. Inhale, stretch up and root down with your feet. And exhale and hinge forward. And bring your hand to the little toe side of your front foot. You can also put your hand on a block if you can't quite reach. Or you can bring your hand to the outside of your shin. So going back to where I was. Inhale, lift your right arm up. Engage your quads. Draw your right hip back, your left hip forward. Turn your sit bones up. Rooting down while being in a place of unbalance. Inhale, press down, stand up. And we get to do it again on the other side. Step your front foot back. Step your left foot forward. Square your hips, your shoulders to the front end of your mat. Lift your right arm up by your ear, cross your body and place your right hand on the floor on the little toe side of your left foot, and then lift your left arm up to vertical. Draw your left hip back, your right hip forward, turn your sit bones up and just notice your breathing. Inhale and make your way back up to standing. And moving into monkey lunge, standing at the front of your mat. Lift your arms up overhead and step your left foot back to the back of the mat and bring your back knee to the floor. Lift your chest, stretch your arms up and then move your hips forward and down and look up. Press the top of your foot into the floor. Press your of your left foot, press your right foot into the floor. Monkey lunge. And release your hands to the floor. Bend your left knee, reach back with your right hand, clasp your ankle and bring your heel into your hip. Place your weight on your left hand, move your right foot forward, roll your ribs back, your shoulder back, lift your chest, stretch your spine and come up into twisted monkey. And release down. Moving into down dog, step your right foot back, step your left foot forward and coming into monkey lunge on the other side. Inhale, lift your torso upright, lift your arms overhead, move your hips forward and down, lift your head, look up. Place your right hand on the floor, bend your back knee, reach back with your left hand, clasp your ankle, bring your heel into your hip. Move your right hand out to the side, lift your chest up, look up, roll your left ribs back, your left shoulder back. Stretch from your hips to under your armpits. And release to the floor. And coming into pigeon, step your right knee forward, pigeon quad stretch, and then bend your back knee, your left knee, reach back with your left hand, catch your left ankle, and turn towards the front of the mat. If you wish, pivot your left hand on top of your left toes, or just hold your ankle. And release that foot to the floor and switch over onto the other side. Switch through down dog. Step your left knee forward, park it behind your left wrist and slightly out to the side. Walk your back leg back to the back of the mat. And then bend your right knee, bring your ankle towards your hip, reach back with your right hand. And if you wish, you can pivot your hand on top of your toes so your fingers are pointed forward. Take your weight onto your left hand, lift your chest, stretch your spine. So pigeon's quad stretch is what it says. It's a quad stretch, it's a twist, and it's an upper back bend. And release and make your way back into plank, hands wider than shoulders. Step back to the back of the mat, float your shoulders over your wrists, squeeze your heels together, squeeze your inner thighs, engage your core and look beyond your mat. And release down and come and lie down in bridge pose. Lie on your backs, bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips on the floor, making sure that the root of your second toe is lining up with the middle of your ankle. And then walk your heels back as close to your hips as possible. You could try and maybe touch your heels with the ends of your fingers. Press down with your feet into the floor. Lift your hips up, walk your hands underneath and shrug your shoulders towards each other. Keep that. Root down firmly with 4 corners of each foot into the floor. Lift your hips up. Tighten your glutes. Stretch your knees forward and stretch your hips to under your armpits. Lift your chin out of your chest. And gently releasing down to the floor. From here, moving into leg lifts. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers. Bring your elbows into the side of your face. Bend your knees, bring your knees together and bring your knees into your chest. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Inhale, stretch your legs up towards the ceiling. Exhale, and then you're going to lower your legs up and down for 5 very slow times. If you have lower back problems, just do it one leg at a time, like so, or do with your knees bent. So today, hopefully I've no back problems. So it's inhaling, moving with your breath, don't hold your breath, and exhaling and inhaling. And releasing down, come onto your hands and knees and moving into cow face pose. So, I'll turn my back to you so you can see what I'm doing. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left ankle, and then you're going to sit back on your ankles. So, crossing right ankle over left ankle, sit back on your ankles, and then lift your left arm and reach it up, bend your elbow, bring it down your back. Lift your right arm out to the side, clasp your hands together, interlace your fingers, lift your chest, stretch your spine, and gaze straight ahead. And switch to the other side. So cross your left ankle over your right ankle, sit down on your heels, and lift your right arm, stretch it up, bend your elbow, bring it down your back, and left arm way out to the side, clasp your hands together, clasp your fingers, lift your chest, stretch your spine. And if you cannot catch your fingers when you're doing this, use a belt or a strap. And gently release, and coming into bow pose, lie on your belly, bend your knees, clasp the outside edge of your ankles with your hands, squeeze your knees together, inhale, use your legs to lift your legs, kick your heels up and back, see if you can lift your knees off the floor. And gently release, come down. And from here, moving into up dog. Stretch your feet out behind you, press the tops of your feet on the floor. Place your arms in cobra arms, I say, which is really, if you had a bikini, it'll be somewhere around your bikini line. Forearms vertical. Coming through the gateway of your arms, lift your head and chest off the floor. Squeeze your inner shins together, your inner thighs. Move your ears back. Tighten your glutes. Flare your toes, press the top of your feet into the floor. And moving into reclined hero. I'm going to use a block for this, so I take my block and I place it between, I'll turn and face the camera so I place it between my ankles, and I'll put it right here because you might be able to see me on the camera, and I'm sitting down so my sit bones are on the block. Now some people's hips and knees are tight in this and you might need to make that block higher, or you mightn't have any bother at all and you can just do it without a block. As we move through life, our joints are not just as flexible as they used to be. Flexible is the wrong word, but they'll begin to stiffen up. Never mind yoga. And then walking my elbows back, I bring my elbows to the floor, and then I gently lower down, all the way down. Squeeze your knees together, squeeze your inner heels towards each other. Press your knees away from you. Press your lower back into the floor. And come up onto your elbows. If you started on higher blocks, and this obviously you don't come down onto your back, but you can come to here, or you can have another set of blocks and use them to support your hands. Working with your body. In yoga we say no pain equals gain, and on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is a day at the beach and 10 is absolute agony, you need to be looking at 4.5, 5. If the pain level is too much, pull out of it at that stage. You have to, as we say as teachers, we're not in your bodies, you know what's going on in your body, so treat your body with kindness and gentleness. And moving into tremulosa. Again, we use blocks for this, so we'll take these blocks here, and again cross your right ankle over your left ankle, sit back in your heels, keep that, and place your blocks somewhere about the outside edges of your hips. I put them on the highest setting. It really depends on the length of your arms. Some people can put their hands on the floor and float up in this. I don't think it'll be for me in this lifetime. Anyways, press down with your hands into the blocks and inhale and lift your feet off the floor, or simply keep your feet on the floor and lift your knees up, depending on where you are. And release, and switch over onto the other side. So cross your ankles in the other direction, sit back in your heels, and the thing is to super glue your heels into your hips. So you press down, straighten your arms, lift off, and see if you can take 5 breaths, or any version of that you can manage. And be as forgiving to yourself as you would like, to keep yourself engaged and enjoying the practice. So moving into upward bow, come and lie on your backs, place your heels in front of your hips, reach down with your hands to see if you can feel your heels, and place your hands on the floor under your shoulders, turn your fingers away from you, point your elbows at the ceiling, and then walk your feet out a little towards the side of the mat, press down with your hands into the floor, press down with your feet into the floor, and either come up onto your head or push up onto your hands and feet, whatever is available for you in your body today. Inhale. Lowering down onto your head and just slipping all the way down, walking your feet forward, and stretch your legs out in front of you and just rest. Arms by your sides. Allow your feet to drop out to the sides. Notice your heartbeat. Notice the quickness of your breath. Moving into a reclined big toe, I'll turn and face the camera so you can see what's going on. Come and lie down on your backs. And you may wish to use a strap. I have one here. I don't myself, but I'll just demonstrate how to use it. So bring your knee into your chest and you slip the strap over the sole of your foot and stretch it up. So if you can just grab your foot, press through your left heel into the floor, press the back of your left thigh into the floor, push up with your foot into the ceiling, press the back of your right thigh away from you. Draw the whole leg towards you. Press your lower back into the floor, press your head into the floor. And then clasp your big toe with the first two fingers of your right hand and allow your right arm, right leg to come out to the side. Plug your left hip into the floor. Stretch your left arm out to the side, turn your palm up, engage quads in both legs. Press your lower back into the floor, your head into the floor. Press through your heels on both legs. Inhale, come back up and stretch your left leg off the floor and reach towards lift your left leg off the floor and reach towards your toes with your left hand. Place your left hand on top of your left thigh. Draw your right thigh towards you, your right leg. And gently release. And coming over onto the other side, curl your left knee into your chest and grab your left foot with both hands. Press the back of your right thigh into the floor. And again, you can use a strap. Press your heel up towards the ceiling. Press through your heel on your right leg. And allow your left arm, left foot out to the side. You can hold it, place your fingers between the first two toes. Press through your heel. Inhale, come back up. Lift your right leg off the floor. Flex and point it, stretch your right fingers down towards your right knee, draw your left leg towards you. And gently release to the floor. And coming up into Marichyasana, stage 1. Bend your right knee, place your right knee in front of your hip on the floor. Place your left hand on the floor, lift your right arm up. Inhale, hinge forward, turn your thumb to the floor, and then reach around the front of your shin and bring your hand back behind you. And then take your left arm and reach around behind you and see if you can link your hands together. And again, this might be a good place to use a strap. So inhale, stretch up, exhale, hinging forward. On every inhalation, stretching. On every exhalation, sinking down, rooting down into the floor, bringing back a sense of groundedness into our practice and then off the mat and out into our lives. Never mind what's coming at us externally. Within us, we always have a place of peace and quietness, and even in a tough pose like this, you can drop into that place of stillness. Inhale, come back up and switch legs. Bend your left knee, place your heel in front of your hip, stretch your right leg out. Place your right hand on the floor, lift your left arm up, hinge forward, turn your thumb down and bring your arm back around behind you. Lift your right arm out to the side, clasp both hands behind your back. Inhale, stretch forward, exhale, sinking down, chin to shin. Press down with your left foot into the floor. Press down with your sit bones into the floor. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, sinking down. moving into head to knee pose or Janu Shirshasana. Stretch your right leg out, bend your left knee, bring your heel to the upper inner thigh. Leave a space between the sole of your foot and your inner thigh. And then lift your arms up, inhale and stretch forward, exhale, hinging forward and reaching towards the end of your leg, whatever's available to you today. And every inhalation stretching forward, on every exhalation sinking down, breath by breath, relaxing your elbows, engaging your quad and the outstretched leg. Inhale and come back up and switch over onto the other side. Stretch your left leg out, bend your right knee, bring your heel to your hip, again leaving a space. Inhale, lift your arms up, stretch up, and exhale and hinging forward. So we expand and then we contract in the dance of life. Inhale, stretching forward, exhale, sinking down. So in the world at the minute, externally it feels like there's contraction. The world is contracting from fear. And so it's time for us to expand within ourselves, to bring on the fear, allow it in, allow it to be there, and dancing with it, because it makes up everything that's human about us. Inhale and come all the way back up again. And coming into east stretch. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Place your hands behind you. Turn your hands out 45 degrees. Press down with your heels into the floor. Inhale and lift your hips up. Bring your toes to the floor. Press your knees into the floor. Lift your chest. Look up. And gently release and come down. And placing your hands by your hips, we're coming to staff pose. Place your heel of your hand onto the floor. Squeeze your ankles together, your inner shins, your inner thighs. Stretch from your hips to under your armpits. Broaden across your collarbones. Move your ears back. And from here, moving into west stretch. More doable, separate your feet slightly. More difficult, keep them together. Rolling your inner thighs towards each other. Give yourself a wee bit of space. Inhale, expand up. Exhale, hinging forward from the hips. Bring your chin to your shin, or any version of that, wherever you are in it. Just not to push it. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, sinking down. Inhale, stretch forward. Exhale, sinking down. And gently make your way back out of that. Moving into reclined child's pose. Come and lie on your back. Bend your knees. Bring your knees into your chest and give yourself the most delicious, comforting, loving hug. Love yourself as only you can. Finding the joy in the pose, the joy in the practice, and the joy in our lives. Feeling grounded and settled. And for the last part of our practice, we're moving into Shavasana, relaxation pose for the last 5 minutes. So I always like to take full advantage of my relaxation, at least 5 minutes, sometimes it's a lot longer, 7 minutes or 10 minutes. Take the time in your life. It's easy to rush everywhere, and we're just having a wonderful rooting down, settling, grounding practice. And now we're going to lie down and embrace the earth, sink into the earth, and just ground ourselves. Give yourself that time. We need it. We need it to build ourselves up to meet what's coming for us. So yeah, enjoy. back into our practice. We'll bring the practice to a close with one Om. Exhale. Inhale. Thanks for practicing, thanks for coming to practice, and see you on the mat.